The GOP had to push back against right-winger Marjorie Taylor Greene after she said that she wanted to form a caucus within the House that would focus on the Anglo-Saxon political tradition. Now, obviously, there are issues with that. What does that even mean? She's really leaning into racism, something that Tucker Carlson does nightly on his Fox News program. And so in this next clip, Tucker Carlson weighs in on the Derek Chauvin trial, but more importantly, what he believes regarding the Anglo-Saxon political tradition. Watch.
We've got to make sure they know we mean business, she said. Well, that couldn't be clearer. Do what we say or we'll kill you. That's the message. Maxine Waters doesn't have much use for those Anglo-Saxon civic traditions like jury trials. Her demand was very clear. Convict Officer Derek Chauvin of first-degree murder or we will burn it down. No one asked the question, is Chauvin actually guilty of first-degree murder? And the answer is, you may believe he committed a crime, and he may have. But no honest person who has watched the trial would tell you he is guilty of first-degree murder.
A lot to unpack there. Now, obviously, Tucker Carlson did that segment prior to the jury finding Derek Chauvin guilty of all three charges, which includes second-degree unintentional murder, third-degree murder, and also second-degree manslaughter. And Tucker Carlson, much like other right-wingers in the media, have decided to latch on to what Maxine Waters had said about essentially encouraging activists to take to the streets and continue to demand justice. He certainly put words in her mouth there. She did not say what he claimed she said. But nonetheless, what's amazing is that he seems to care deeply about jury trials and where they originate from. It's just that he doesn't care enough to actually look at the origin of jury trials. But luckily, we have super dork Brett Ehrlich looking into it for us. And we got a little bit of a history lesson this morning during our production meeting. So let me give you the details on where jury trials come from. The Lafif in Maliki jurisprudence developed between the 8th and 11th centuries and stipulated that 12 members of the community would swear to tell the truth and reach a unanimous verdict. Sounds like it actually comes from Muslim culture. Doesn't really go along with his narrative there. Let me give you more. In the 12th century, Henry II of England similarly instituted a jury system of 12 free men charged to uncover the facts of the case with the same characteristics as the Lafif system. He was likely influenced by his exchequer, Thomas Brown, who formerly worked under the Diwan of the Kingdom of Sicily, which had recently conquered the Emirate of Sicily and incorporated Islamic government and legal systems into their procedures. Sometimes the truth hurts, Tucker. Sometimes it hurts.
That was a long way to go and a huge payoff. I'm so glad you read that and that Brett brought that up. Wow, Islamic law, eh? Looks like we owe that our due process to Islamic law. Funny. And the other thing I was gonna say is that actually trial juries and juries have been sidelined immensely in this country to try and leave more and more things up to judges, right? And we know how depending on who the president is, depending on whether it's Trump, and you've got however many, hundreds of federal judges, far right-wing federal judges appointed, your case could go very much the wrong way. But then, I mean, in terms of the way of power and not in the way of justice. And so I think it's great that we remember where juries come from. And yes, of course, tonight, Anna, Tucker will be still talking about Maxine Waters and somehow trying to resuscitate the name of Derek Chauvin.
Yeah, of course, that's what he does. But what I also, look, the second half of this is the fact that he is paying homage to Marjorie Taylor Greene and her intention to form a caucus that's just flat out like in favor of racism, right? I mean, Anglo-Saxon tradition, like that's what she wants to maintain through the creation of this caucus. She ended up backing away from it after she got pushed back from, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy and other members of the GOP that are like, listen, we're supposed to do dog whistles. We're not supposed to just flat out talk about how racist we are and how we want to protect Anglo-Saxon traditions. So they push back against it. Cenk has a theory that I think is probably correct, which is, yeah, like corporate donors, like they kind of want to stay away from that kind of language. So it makes them uncomfortable. That's probably why you have members of the GOP pushing back against it. But Tucker Carlson has no problem. He's like, no, I'll fly that flag. That's who I am. And I want you guys to remember that as he pretends to care about the economic anxiety of people in this country. He doesn't actually care about it. And even if you believe him, even if you think that he genuinely wants to hold corporations accountable and he wants a more equitable system, his solution isn't to actually hold corporations accountable or to increase taxes paid by the rich or any of that. He's not in favor of redistributing wealth in this country. His solution, much like other white nationalists, is to shut the borders, is to divide and conquer in this country, and to essentially push this narrative that all the economic anxiety that people are feeling has to do with the others. It has to do with foreigners, it has to do with people of color, and we need to do something about them in order to fix the system. That's what his solution is. He's not an ally, he's not a friend, and for anyone who thinks it makes sense to whitewash him and make him out to be a good guy, wake up. Either you know what you're doing and you just like appearing on his show, or you don't know what you're doing and you're a dummy.
This is my problem with the idea that right-wing populism and left-wing populism can join forces. No, they can't. For the people in the back, no, they can't. No, they won't. Right-wing populism is based on xenophobia, racism, tiers of citizenship. It is about, yes, deporting people. It's about separating kids from their parents. It's all that stuff, right? Whereas actual populism is about lifting up folks economically, is about an anti-racist, solid, like politics based in solidarity, right? That doesn't distinguish between immigrant labor and non-immigrant labor, right? Not calling people illegal or, so yes, it's so important to remember that. And I feel like, the progressive caucus and some progressives in Congress have taken up the mantle. But not the ones not the ones in leadership, not the ones who have power, not the ones who understand things better. And so that's it. I feel like that I don't want to miss this moment again. I don't want when a smarter Trump comes along, when Stephen Miller launches his campaign, or Tucker for that matter launches his campaign. I don't want the New York Times to be like, what did we get wrong about economic anxiety? Like, oh no.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.